So, procrastination is a serious problem, and like many other people, I deal with it, so I'm just going to let that explain for itself. So, though I was originally going to talk about this album around Valentine's Day since I thought it was suitable, I'm going to be casually late, and now we're going to be talking about A Thing Called Love by Johnny Cash, released on April 3rd, 1972. So, I'm just going to say this album is one of my favorites by the Man in Black. This overall sound is crisp and clear, and of course it has that traditional Cash sound, but it also integrates different stuff. Like he gets the Evangel Temple Choir in, he has the Carter Family as usual, he has strings and horns, and it really helps sort of amplify what you listen to on this album. And I just think it's one of his best works. The album opens up with track number 1, Kate, and musically, it's a traditional sounding Johnny Cash song, but it's a fun listen, and it really kind of helps open up what you're about to get yourself into with this album. And although it's about murdering a woman, from what he says, she's just plain bad, as he says around the end. So, did she deserve it? I don't know, I'll let you decide. Track number 2, Melva's Wine, is when, in my opinion, when the album really starts to pick up. And you're greeted with these almost hauntingly beautiful background vocals by Anita Carter. Beautiful voice, by the way. And it's one of those songs on this album that talks about mortality, about death. And it's not in your face, it's very subtle, but it really is. It's a very laid back kind of song. But there's a lot going on if you listen musically, and Anita's vocals in the background, like I mentioned. I mean, sometimes I listen to this song just for Anita's vocals because that's how beautiful her voice is. And it really goes along well with what this song's about. And I really like the way Johnny sings it. And it really is probably one of the best tracks on this album, in my opinion. Then we get to track number 3, the title song, written by Jerry Reed, and this song has it all. Beautiful background, just absolutely beautiful vocals in the background from the Evangel Temple Choir. They, along with the horns and the strings, really elevate just how good sounding this song is. And also what really stands out to me about this song is Johnny's vocal, personally, because it has that almost Sun Records like reverb sound. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds very similar to what his vocals sound like on his early Sun Records days. And that's the only song on this album where his voice sounds like that. I mean, you have to listen to it to kind of understand what I'm talking about. But either way, he's talking about something that can't be bought or sold. You can't see it with your eyes, hold it in your hands. But yet it's one of the strongest things that exists in this world that God has given to us, and that's love. And that's the thing he talks about. It's the name of the album. So this song really means a lot. Also, this song, along with Kate, both made the top 5 on the country singles charts. So let that speak for itself. One thing I learned not too long ago about track number 4, I Promise You, is the fact that John wrote this on his wedding day. And I love that song for that specific reason. And it's, like the title would suggest, it's a song about promising that no matter how good or bad things may get, you're still going to be by the side of that one person that you love. And is a gorgeous track, and I love the Carter Family and the Temple Choir vocals in the background during the chorus. I mean, I would recommend this song just for those background vocals, but it is a very sweet, loving song. Side 1 ends with track number 5, Papa Was a Good Man, and according to the song, he is a good man, and the reason why is because despite his demons and the temptations that he faces, he still wants to take care of himself and his family. I mean, like, just listen to the song and John explains it better than I could. And what I absolutely love about this song is the chorus. And again, the Carter family and the Temple Choir, I mean, those they come together and create these absolutely incredible background vocals that, like, when they come on, they hit you right in the face, but in a good way. And I love this song just for the chorus alone. But it really is a good song about how you can persevere and still, be good, in the sense that you don't let your demons get the better of you. Something that John himself can relate to. Also, I guess I'll mention that this song also made the top 20 at number 16. Not as good as the other singles from this album, but I mean, I think it should have been at least top 10, but that's my opinion. Side 2 opens up with track number 6, Tear Stained Letter, and it's one of the best songs on the album. I mean, period. The strings are absolutely gorgeous throughout, and John's vocal is probably the most sincere out of all the songs on this album. And it's about a breakup and trying to make that up in an honest, heartfelt letter. And I mean, again, listen to the song and you'll really feel the emotion behind it. And I mean, I'm just thinking about it now, the chorus alone. I know I keep talking about the choruses, but like that's really where the magic happens. And if I were to recommend this album for any particular reason, it would be this song. Track number 7, Mississippi Sand, written by June Carter herself, is, I would describe as a clever way of talking about murder. And what leads me to believe that is around, I want to say, the end of the song, they talk about this bad man who is humbled by basically getting the crap beat out of him, and how the main character and Carl, might be Carl Perkins, by the way, they catch him and they relieve him of his pocketbook and his blood and other things. So I hear that and I think, oh, they just killed the guy and left him in the Mississippi sand. But that's just my take on the song. I mean, you can listen to it for yourself and come up with an opinion. But listening to this the first time, I was like, huh, that's really clever. I wonder what they did to the guy. But anyway, it's a really catchy song. No choir or strings or anything. It's very typical Cash sounding, with the Carter family and the chorus and whatnot. But again, it's a very fun song to listen to. Track number 8, Daddy, is one of those songs I would compare to Papa Was a Good Man and Melva's Wine to a lesser extent, because it's about one's father and death. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but it's one of those songs that talks about the legacy one man can have on his family or his friends, and the impact that one can feel about losing said parent. And it really is a very emotional song. It's probably one of the most emotional pieces of music on this album. Especially if you've been able to say that you have a loving father, then you'll be able to relate to this song. And the Temple Choir comes back during the choruses, and absolutely gorgeous, heavenly vocals in the background. I mean, again, I would recommend this song just for that alone. But again, I would recommend it just because it is an emotional piece of music. And it is a song that a lot of people can relate to, myself included. So after listening to probably the most emotional song on this album, we then get to the most masculine song on this album with track number 9, Arkansas Lovin' Man. And of course, Johnny, being a man from Arkansas, he probably couldn't relate to this song at the time since he was married, but I could totally see him doing a song like this when he was younger, back during the 50s, touring with Elvis, because of the kind of lifestyle that this song talks about. Talking about how he's got love and he wants to spread around and whatnot. But aside from that, it's a fun song. I mean, I can't complain about it at all. He's just talking about how his love is natural and actual and real authentical, you could say. And I also love the ascending, almost bassy kind of riff that the lead guitars follow on. And yeah, it's really catchy. And as per tradition on his albums, there's gotta be at least one gospel song, that being track number 10, The Miracle Man. And What I love about this song, besides, again, the temple choir vocals during the chorus, is the feel of it being like a personal testimony by Cash himself. Because he's talking about the hard times and tribulations that he's been through. And it's a song that, again, a lot of people can probably relate to. But yet he's giving it to the man that sacrificed himself and did things that he will never have to go through because of that. And really, I think it's a very solid way, especially for Johnny Cash, to end this album, an album about love, talking about the love of God, of all things. I mean, I can't think of a greater love than God. And so I just think it is a very solid way to end this album. I mean, I don't think there could have been any better way to end it. So I really think it's a solid closer for an album. So just like the singles, this album actually made it to the top 5 at number 2 on the country albums charts. And again, good for it, because this really is a solid album. So much so that, again, that's why I think it's one of my favorites, because it has such a solid sound to it. Johnny sounds great. The Carter family sounds great. The music sounds great. I mean, I really have no complaints about this album. I have no problem listening to it from start to finish. I've done that Lord knows how many times. And I'll go ahead and show you the back here also. He included a poem, you could call it. And it's super long, so I'm not going to read it, obviously. And it showed Johnny walking out on stage. And same with the front cover also. I mean, you see him singing, shaking hands with the audience. I mean, interacting with people. And again, like, I can't talk about this album enough. I mean, it is hands down one of my favorites. Top 3 songs, I would say title song, A Thing Called Love, obviously. Melva's Wine, and I'm going to go with Tear Stained Letter. So, yeah, with that being said, sorry it took so long. Procrastination, big issue. And I will see you guys in the next video. So, take care. Bye-bye.